What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I am happy to present my branded Despia deck profile. This has been the most fun version of this deck there has ever been. Your lines are a lot more resilient. Ash still hurts, as it always will, which is actually insane for how powerful this deck is. But yeah, in terms of this build, there's obviously changes you can make to it. That's one of the fun parts about branded, is that there are obviously bad builds of it, but there isn't necessarily a correct way, or there isn't necessarily a 100% correct build, which is one of the more fun aspects of this deck, because everyone's branded deck will have that slight variation to it. Full disclosure, in my case, I do not use the gimmick puppet lock. You absolutely can. It is a completely viable strategy. I would even recommend it at like tournaments, at like top tier tournaments like regionals and states and nationals and all that stuff. I would 100% recommend it because it is the easiest way to out. I just don't like playing that, therefore I will not. But yeah, right now this is the deck that I have, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, please like, please subscribe, and please comment. This is one of the decks that actually kind of encourage engagement, basically. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on the deck, what I could be playing, what I shouldn't be playing, hit me up with those comments. And yeah, with that out of the way, let us get to it. So first things first, we play triple Aluba. This card is obviously amazing, and I will flex with the alties because I really do like this deck, so I did invest in it. Aluba is a great starter, there's no question about it. You never play less Aluba at all. Because of Cyberstorm access, this deck, its lines are a little more resilient, and the board presence it puts up is a lot better. So 3 Alubas, definitely. So yeah, nothing else to say about that. Then the next Despia card, the new card, Quem. Yeah, this card is one of the most busted cards for this deck, obviously. It's actually what the deck needed. It needed another way to Foolish Burial without going into the Grand Guino, the Finale Dragon. We needed like another, because that took up a lot of investment, actually. So having Quem has just been the greatest lifesaver, because it does the foolish. It summons anything that mentions Albaz from the grave. So that could be a Cartesia, that could be Mirajade. It just does everything. And the fact that it can be it can be summoned with Branded Opening is also just another level of resilience that this deck can put up, because this becomes a form of interruption, because you can also just send Albaz and bring it back during your opponent's turn to fuse your opponent's cards. So yeah, one Cartesia, sorry, not Cartesia, sorry, one Quem. And you don't need to play more than one. You honestly don't. One is good enough, because this is really easy to access. And then the other one-offs, I play one Tragedy and one Adlib. I have seen a lot of deck lists that don't play Adlib anymore. I get it, like you don't really need to. I mean, it is like one of the cards that you side out when you go to game 2. But I think it's still a good card to have. Just being able to have like a reusable Mirajade is really nice. The fact that the Finale Dragon dumps it from the deck to the grave is also really nice. It just makes Branded in red really free. So I understand why people don't play it. I would recommend that you still play it one copy, because it's a good card to have, and inside you can just side it out. Tragedy, some people are even dropping Tragedy. I will never recommend that you drop Tragedy. I will never. This card is really good. It is a starter, so if you can get it to grave or banished, it's just a starter. So yeah, no, I recommend that you play one. Like you don't have to play 2 or 3. Just one is fine, but I would not recommend that you do not play any copies of this card. And then here we play 3 Fallen of Albaz. People play 2, which is fine. It's just about, I just kind of want to have them in rotation. So I like having one in grave and one in hand in case anything. But 2 does work. But I will always just say just play 3. Just play 3. Because if you draw it, it's not like a brick or anything. You can keep it in your hand. It can be discard fodder. And if Albaz is in the graveyard, it enables other effects. So it's not really like a bad thing to draw and being able to discard it off, because you do have a lot of discard effects, so might as well like get the most use out of the Albas. Then for the Albas support, I play one Cartesia, one Kit, one Mercuria, and one Albion. Okay, so in this case, these are these are the one-offs, but there is a point to make for Cartesia being a two-off. And I say that a lot of people are actually running two, and I recommend that you do. I haven't been able to get a hold of one yet. But if you can play two Cartesias, do, because then one will always be in the field, and then you can always have one in the grave. It's always fine to have it that way, because Quem can always just summon it back out, even if you get one banished, because Cash Terror is still the best deck. Please don't have any delusions about that, because even though this deck really is strong, with Cash in the format and no ban list, Cash is still the best deck by far. So playing two, having two Cartesias is really, really good. So yeah, Kit, just another way to search Branded Fusion or Branded Lost. That's fine. Mercuria, you can play two. One tends to be fine because you either banish it or just add it to your hand. It's not really a big deal. And then Albion is Albion. You search it with Branded Lost. Free Foolish and a draw. Or you could even just summon it to go for game. And then for the Bestials, you only need two. One Lubellion and one Sarania. You don't ever need more than this. If you want to play a heavier Bestial package, that's fine, but I'm saying if you just want to play a more focused branded deck, this is it. The Lubellion is just because it's a light target and it gets you a branded Lost on the field. And the Sarania, if you draw it, you can discard it, you can send it to the grave if you just want to go straight into Lubellion. It has like a lot of use cases, but these are also cards that you can also side out when you're going into game 2. So yeah, these cards are pretty good at 2. They aren't necessarily bricks, because even if you draw Lubellion, you can just discard it to search Sarania, and then when you're gonna fuse into Albion, you can just send Cartesia. It is still fine. And then for the hand traps, I play triple Ash and triple Impum. Ash is still a good hand trap, but I think it might become worse as this format goes on, because so many decks are just resilient to Ash. But in the mirror match, as strong as this deck is and as hard as it can push through without Branded Fusion, every Branded player still wants to resolve Branded Fusion. So if you can keep them off that, that's good. They just have to work extra hard for their combos. And I mean, every other deck, like, they are searches, so if you just know where to hit them, that's fine. And Impum is Impum. It's just a really good hand trap. There's no you don't have to play it. Oh, actually, the one that I don't play is Nibiru, because even if the Nibiru your board, or even if you like a Nibiru your own board, is completely fine. You still have so much follow up after that. After you've built your board and your opponent goes too crazy or whatever, then you nib them. You absolutely can. So these are like the flex spots in this deck. You can switch them out for any six, or you can even add more hand traps, because I'm playing a 42 card deck. You can play 45 by adding like another set of hand traps. But right now I'm just playing Ash and Impum, which have been pretty good for me. So yeah. But yeah, you can play any 6. But Nib, if you want to play Nib, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because in my case, what I also do is that I do play triple Crossout and Cold Buy. This is because you only lose to Ash. That's the thing with this deck. You pretty much like really only lose to Ash, because on your opponent's turn, this deck, like, this board is so resilient because you can just keep making stuff. So that is completely fine. So I suggest that you do play Crossout and Call By. They really are good. Like, you don't have anything to lose by playing them, because the deck is basically like a 1 to 2 card combo deck. So if the other card is Crossout or Call By, you're fine. You're completely fine. So yeah, those are just like the interruptions. And because of this, you can also play the Nibiru also, in case if you don't want your board to be destroyed. That's completely fine also. And then back to the normal traps, like supports. We play 3 opening and then 3 branded fusion. Oh, sorry. Yeah. 3 opening and 3 branded fusion. Standard, there's opening is good now. Well, it's always been good, but it's better now because now you can just summon Quem and then Quem dump, which is fine. So if you have opening and Aluba, opening and branded fusion, opening and fusion deployment, it is just the perfect spot to be in. And yeah, branded fusion, it'll always get ashed. Understand that as a meta player, everyone has suffered it. Your branded fusion will always get ashed. And then I play triple fusion deployment. Triple fusion deployment. It becomes like a really nice way to avoid imperm of your Aluba being what do you call this? Aluba being impermed or veiled. Because you summon Cartesia with this card and then you normal summon Aluba search, and then if they try to do that, you just quick fusion. So that's always good. Then yeah. Then the next card is Triple Nadir Servant. Okay, here, I can't stress enough, you don't have to play this card. The deck is resilient enough, you can replace this with hand traps because going into game 2, you also pretty much side out all 3 copies. Because I think the deck has become like a live and let die type of situation where if you don't have the card, you don't have the card, you lose the game. It is what it is. It happens. But in my case, I play it because I still like being able to have a Mirror Jade on my opponent's turn, which in more cases than not, it's usually not enough because no one's going to send it to the grave, they'll just send it back to the extra deck. So yeah, I still think the deck is really good. I still, I still think the card is really good for the deck, but it is completely optional. You can replace this with hand traps also, so instead of having the 6 hand traps, you can have 9 by replacing this card. And then yeah, because like the deck, because of the one-offs that you play, I wouldn't recommend playing 40. I'd recommend playing like a little more than 40, but like nothing more than 44, 45. So yeah, Nadir Servant is a really good card. And then I play both Foolish and Gold Sock. Because why not? These are literally starters. If you draw these, you still have your game plan going. Like that's completely fine. You can send Tragedy with both of them, or you can send Mercuria with the Gold Sock. They just become starters. But the thing is that they do play into draw, so do be careful. If draw is really heavy in your OTS, I don't recommend that you play them. And then the one-offs, Branded in Red, Branded Lost, and Retribution. All good cards. They're all part of the combo. In your mainline combos, actually, yeah, I think in almost every combo or every bread and butter combo of this deck, you will be using all 3 of these cards. So this will go to the grave, this will be set, and this will be placed on the field by Rebellion, the Bestial Rebellion. So these cards are definitely recommended. The other trap card that people have been playing is Branded. Two of the Branded, the quick synchro one. It's fine because the idea is that you don't really care about the synchro ability, you just care for the what do you call this? The banishing all of the material stuff, which is completely fine, but it's not really that good. Your deck is already so resilient. There's no real point in playing that. This is the only card that you need to play with the Bestial Rebellion, because in most cases, the Rebellion literally leaves the field, so then you can summon because either banish it or you use it as material. Either way, so it's fine. And then the extra deck, the Albaz cards. I played 2 Mirror Jades, 2 Albions, 1 Lubellion, 1 Titaniclad, 1 Ringgrim, 1 Brigand. This is just to search out the Mercury at the end phase of that turn. So like these are all the branded, these are all of the usual branded stuff that you usually play. The only new one is this, because you can't summon Quem, because Quem is treated as a Dogmatica also. So there's no problem summoning this, and you can set it off Mirror Jade because it is a fusion monster that mentions Albaz. So I chose to play this card. You do not have to. I just think that it's good to play this card as a way to access Quem quickly if you couldn't access it during your turn or something like that. So yeah, these are the really good fusions. And then for the new one, I play 1 Incandescent Dragon. Really good card. Like, when I first read this card, I was like, okay, it's okay, because people just think about the Gimme Puppet Lock is like, yeah, it would obviously work for that. But I think this card is actually really good. Being able to summon Albaz to your field and something on your opponent's field to go into another fusion as another form of interruption is just perfect, because it just has 2 monsters. So I think this card is really, really good. But you only ever need to play 1 copy, you don't need to ever play more. And then I played 2 Grand Guinot. The card is fantastic. I played 2 copies because it turns out like the first copy you always go through in your combo, and then the second one comes up pretty often just to dump anything and then to summon any other Despian in your extra deck or Dogmatica in your deck, which would be Quem. So you can play 1. Obviously, it's more than fun to play 1. I just want to play 2 because I think the card, because you actually go into it a lot more often than you think. The second one, I mean, you go into it a lot more often than I think, than you think. And then the Despian cards that you would summon off of the Finale Dragon is Lulu Walilith and Queridus. These are also just really fantastic cards. Lulu will you usually send Lulu to the grave with Nadir Servant, or you can summon it with the Finale Dragon. It summons in the grave. It summons both Cartesia and Quem during the end phase, so it like whatever you want. And this card pretty much just saves you from battle. It just saves you life points, and then if it is removed, it's just a free Albaz from the deck. So I think it's a really, really good card. And then your branded in red target is gonna be a Guardian Chimera. Always good. You will usually pop 2 and then draw 1. So yeah. And then the last one is Draco Stapelia. Because evenly matched is still a thing, but even under evenly matched, you can still make this card if you have a ad lib in the grave and a Mirage on the field. You are still pretty good here. So yeah. And that is the deck profile. I will make a video on maybe 2 combos just to show how you play the deck. Just like the bread and butter combos that you usually need. But the deck is really resilient, and yeah. Remember guys, if you did like this deck profile, please remember to hit like and subscribe. If you haven't, turn on the notification bell, and please comment. This deck does invite discussion, so I would love to hear what you guys think of the deck profile, and any suggestions are obviously welcome. And yeah, this is Bulelas from Team Lid signing out. Peace.